search results. So with notify, if you call notify twice or two different rules called notify, we handle that gracefully. This is also handled gracefully. There are options you can set in annotate search results, which you can set to affect how that's handled. And so when Azigo in their Remind Me product has wrapped a little wrapper image around that, and we can allow you to sort of wrap your own wrapper image around whatever you annotate. And if several different things are annotating, several different rules are annotating, they will sort of coexist nicely with each other. We've done that to make it easy for things to coexist on top of search results.
Sam, what's setting foo for?
What's setting foo? This would capture whatever is in the parentheses in the regular expression in the variable foo.
And then write it to foo. Okay,
Yes. Any other questions on annotate search results before I move on?
Can you have multiple parentheses?
Can I have
Multiple parentheses on the URL?
So the question is, can you have multiple sets of parentheses in the select statement that you can set in the setting argument? And that is true. Each set of parentheses would do that. So if I did something like this, and someone can probably call out some problems with what I'm doing with my regular expression, then that's how you do it. And so you can pull out any set of parentheses comes in as a variable. Scott looks curious.
And what was the $K in your JavaScript again?
Wait till later.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the question was, what does $K mean? And I'll get to that a little bit later. Okay. Any other questions about annotate search results? Or I'll move on.
So annotate search results, that's a built-in KRL function that's going to do some other JavaScript stuff on the page.
So the question is annotate search results is a built-in KRL function that does some other JavaScripty stuff on the page? Yes, it is. So you call that. We do a whole lot of work that you don't have to in the background to make this happen.
You guys, is there like online documentation that has it?
Yes.
And it's found that?
Code.kynetx.com will have links to it. There's a Kynetx wiki that it will all link to.
Wiki.kynetx.com.
Just have to go to developer.kynetx.com.
Oh,
there.
Choose one, guys.
So Code.kynetx.com is the developer blog, and there's links from there to all the documentation and everything that you'll need.
Links on the bottom of the help right there as well.
Yeah, so KRL documentation here will also take you to the documentation. And then there's these cool handy help tabs which Turbo built that will give you help on the specific page that you're on. Okay, so I've got a bunch of other interesting stuff to cover, so if anyone doesn't shout up and jump up and down, I'm going to move on then. Okay, so the next thing I'd like to talk about is bookmarklets. I was going to talk about this yesterday, but didn't get to. Under deployment, you have the option to deploy things as a bookmarklet. This is kind of handy because it allows you to, it's an easy install, and it's really particularly helpful for debugging your applications. Bookmarklets will always work when other things don't. If there's a caching issue or something else, and I'll talk about that in just a second. If there's a caching issue, bookmarklets will always give you the behavior you want. One thing to know is that bookmarklets do not consult the dispatch block. So if you have declared domains in your dispatch block and you click it on a domain outside of those, your rule will still run. That gives you the ability to write a rule which will run on any website because you don't have to list them all in the dispatch block. So bookmarklets can be a valid deployment option, like for an application like Sweeter that you do not want to have run on every page but allow the user to run. They're also insanely useful for testing. So there's three different ways we display this here. The first one is the JavaScript that you copy paste into a bookmark if you're making it yourself. The third one is the HTML you would need to put on another page in order to give people a link like this so that they can just take this and drag it up to their bar and drop it, and now you have a bookmarklet which runs a Kynetx application. And so I'm going to go turn off my my information card that did the search annotation so that doesn't happen. And when I go to Bing now, I'm going to restart my search here. Nothing is going to be annotated, but when I click on search annotation and run this particular bookmarklet, it will run my Kynetx application.
So you can force your file.
That was actually a fit of inspiration one day, and I thought, no way, this is awesome. And Christian got a little worried at the wild look in my eyes and just kind of backed away slowly. And within several hours, it was actually deployed and I was using it. It turned out to be a very more useful than I had originally anticipated. So that's really useful. So bookmarklets can be really handy when you're having trouble with an endpoint like a browser extension or an information card, and you just need it to happen to make sure that your rule works, even if you're having trouble with the endpoint for some reason. So while we're talking about trouble with endpoints, several of you have made cards and then loaded them into Azigo Lite and then discovered that it wasn't working the way that you expected. So Azigo Lite caches your dispatch block for 4 hours. And so if you loaded the card into Azigo Lite before you put domains inside the dispatch block and published it, then it's going to cache your empty dispatch block for 4 hours. So one of the easy ways of getting around that is to use a bookmarklet to test, and it's not really going to affect your users so much. It's just kind of a pain during development. The other thing to do is just make sure that when you make an application, you add your domains into the dispatch block, hit publish, then write the rest of the application before you put the card in to your card selector, and the problem will never really hit you. We stumble into that too, and we're working with Azigo on ways that we can automatically flush that cache so that it doesn't bother you when you're developing. That isn't something that we have ready yet. We'll let you know in a post on the code.Kynetx developer blog as soon as that's available, and you don't have to worry about this anymore. Question in the back.
Could the app builder just check for empty dispatch block and not let it publish?
The question is could an app builder check for an empty dispatch block and not let you publish it? The answer is yes. We just haven't built that yet. But that's kind of a stopgap. I'd really rather just build a cache flushing mechanism so that it doesn't bother you at all. That way, so the reason why the cache flushing is useful is because when you update your dispatch block, let's say you want to expand your application onto a different domain, you won't have an empty dispatch block, but it's still going to take 4 hours to show up. And so flushing the cache automatically will make that problem entirely vanish.
You probably want both, because otherwise people, if they don't know documentation about not doing the card before you have empty, they'll end up not knowing what's going on.
It actually won't matter if you flush the cache. So
If we remember to flush the cache.
no, the cache flushing will be automatic.
Oh.
So there's another tip here that you can use to figure out what's going on. In the sites box inside of Azigo Lite, it will list domains that Azigo Lite currently knows about. If it's not listed here, tags are not being planted and your Kynetx application will not run. So you can use this to be able to figure out if it's going to happen the way that you expect. So also, while we're talking about endpoints, one of the beautiful things about deploying code days before a conference or the day before the conference is that you find things that you didn't expect. And we, via your help, we have found a bug inside of the Internet Explorer browser extension that you can generate. That is one of the subtle 500 things you have to do right in order for Internet Explorer to like your browser extension. You've helped us uncover one of the ones we haven't done perfectly right. Well, we're on track with that. We know what the problem is, and we'll have a fix deployed either today or tomorrow for that. The Firefox one doesn't suffer from the same malady, and so that'll work as it did before. This is pretty uncharted territory. We're flying fast and there's turbulence, and we appreciate your willingness to let us fix problems and to inform us when there is an issue that we might not know about.
In the Internet Explorer example, if, let's say, an extension I had out there, people were using it, we found a problem, we fixed it, do I have to let them know of the update, or will it automatically update the extension for them?
The question is if we update the extension, what do app users, people who already have the extension installed, have to do in order to get the new extension? This particular problem doesn't affect people that already have a working extension, but other problems you can imagine might. Firefox has the ability has a built-in mechanism for browser extension updates, and we have things in place, it's not ready yet, but things in place to utilize that to push updates out, or if you wanted to take over the browser extension that you had previously released with a customized version of what we offer, you can replace it with that as part of the update process. Microsoft doesn't provide a similar mechanism, but what we will be releasing is a way for you to detect which browser extension is running your application and message users using an older version to help them to know that they need to update to the newer version. And as you do that, it'll install over the top of the other one, and they know that. So we're giving you, one of the things that building a browser extension with Kynetx does is it gives you an update channel for Internet Explorer users as part of the package. That isn't running today, and they'll be updated. We'll let you know when that's ready and deployed. Okay, so one of the other things that has kept me up a lot this week is a feature that we're calling versioning that I want to get to. And I'm going to show you how it works and explain why this is important. Underneath the application tab is a history option, and when you look in history, there is a list of all of the previously published versions of this application that you have written.